Oh, now look what I have here. All right, guys, get ready. This is the Castlevania 1999 Demon War Creepypasta, written by some weirdo named LightArcIndumati. I don't know who that is, but this is 100% a super duper scary story that is 100% actually real. As you see, it's a creepypasta, which definitely means that. Alright, now, without further ado, let's actually begin this, thing. Whatever this is. So, like many a gamer in the world, I am a huge fan of Castlevania and really like the DS and GBA games, and some of you might remember that there were references in Aria of Dawn and Aria of Sorrow, as well as other Castlevania games. Personal favorites of mine, to the age when Dracula was destroyed for good, known as the 1999 Demon Castle War, which was supposed to feature Julius Belknap and his quest to defeat Dracula. Oh yeah, I remember that well from Castlevania. Well, that would have happened, but would you know what happened? Nice grammar there. With that, Konami thought that 2D Metroidvania games wouldn't sell anymore and decided the series needed a reboot in the form of a God of War clone series, known, the Lords of Shadow series. But what if I told you there was an unreleased and very rare game disc made for the 1999 Demon War game, and it held dark and sinister secrets that would lead to the reimagining of the Castlevania universe as a whole? I mean, of course, why not? So you're wondering, how did I get this? Well, I got it on a trip to Japan one day at a shady secondhand shop. Of course, why would you not? The game itself was just a black disc in a generic black plastic case that had a sticker on it saying Castlevania 1999 Demon War. I was like, what the bleep? The freaking legendary 1999 Demon War video game? I thought Konami was too busy making pachinko machines with erotic violence to make Castlevania video games anymore, and it was a PS3 game disc too. Wait, what? How can you even tell that? It said it was a black disc that was blank. So I decided to buy it, but the cashier told me in broken English, no good, we can't sell you that. I asked why, and he responded, you put that back now. And I asked him why, and he sighed and said, it's a cursed game. I mean, of course it is. Was the Cult of X behind this? Of course Cult of X was behind this. Who else would be behind this? I was wondering, did he mean that it's not a very good game? No, he means it's a cursed game, protag. Oh well, so I decided what I did next, I stole it because I wanted to play it anyway. I know it's a bit scummy and underhanded, but I need the Castlevania 1999 Demon War game in my life like you won't believe. Besides, how bad could it be? How bad could I be? I'm just building an economy. Little did I know that stealing it would be the last mistake in my life. Oh, noes. I took it back to America a couple weeks later and booted in my PS3, and it worked! Wow. The logo for Castlevania came up against a dark red and black cloudy background, and it showed up, and from it showed Dracula's castle coming down from a giant clock sigil in the sky. And what was weird about it, it wasn't just one castle, but multiple. I was like, what the bleep? What is going on in this? Is this like Order of Ecclesia? Well, not really. I pressed X to start the game, but then for a split second... I mean, did you have a stopwatch on you? How did you know all this? How were you able to notice all this stuff in a split second? The screen glitched and showed some spoopy haunted images of dead people that were burned to death and made skeletons by fire, and it looked like they were in an office surrounded by computers. It was strange because it looked like a real photo, like, what? And then I noticed the logo was dark red like blood. Take a shot every time there's blood. Take two if it's hyper-realistic blood. And then it started to rain hyper-realistic blood. Oh no, not hyper-realistic blood, guys. From the clouds that stained the photo in a blood-stained ritual. And then the photo burned up in hellfire, dark fire, and showed a hyper-realistic face of Dracula, who looked like his Symphony of Night version. It was crying bloody tears from his eyes. I was like, wow, this is a cool and elaborate intro to the game. Of course it is. Wow, yeah. Yeah, this game is totally not glitched or hacked whatsoever, no. This is official. It made me feel extra excited to play it. Only what was that photo of? I didn't recognize the people at all. It was a weird flex, but I was okay with it, dude. And then it started with a text scroll over the blood red sky background. Then it said, the year is 1999, a secret cult run by the descendants of the Dark Priest Shaft, who runs a secret Illuminati-confirmed organization known as the Lords of Shadow, has accumulated the souls of humanity's fallen throughout the ages to use in a ritual to open the doors of chaos that have broken down space and time to unleash the greatest horde of evil from the gates of hell the world has ever seen. As he has summoned Dracula and his servants from across time and space to bring about the end of the world. Humanity's suffering and anguish has never been greater, but not all hope is lost. The legendary vampire killer, sealed by a great seal for just this very moment, has finally been awakened from its slumber. And those called by the call of destiny have gathered to fight against the Lords of Shadow and the rise of Dracula's from across time and space. Led by Julius Belmont, they fight in the Great Demon War of 1999 to save the world's souls. To save the world's soul from the forces of chaos. Yes. I was eating popcorn at this point because this was amazing. I mean, how could anyone not think so? I was ready to play for real now. Oh dang, we just started. Ooh, boy. Next, Julius ran real fast through the forest at breakneck speed. You know, like in Symphony of Night, yes, with Alucard, and faded one of the dark castles of Dracula. When he entered it and said, Castle 1, Lament of Limbo, and text over some strangely realistic bloodstains that I swear is hyper realistic. Oh no. Take a shot for every time it says hyper realistic. Take 2 if it's hyper-realistic blood. And when I got to the level itself, it looked like some sort of office building with oversized filing cabinets, files all over the floor, and Walking Dead office workers that looked blue-skinned and had deep sunken eyes from, I don't know, lack of coffee. And rotting flesh was so real. I could even say it was hyper, no scratch that, ultra-realistic. Wow. Anyway. I had Julia stroll up to one and whip it good, and it made it bleed out super duper hyper realistic blood. Wait, super duper hyper realistic blood, dang. When it hit and a zombie fell into fleshy, dirty, disgusting pieces. Oh no. I was like, damn, this game has way more detail than the DS Castlevania games. This is so cool. Man, it feels so good to play another AAA Castlevania game again. Oh yeah. Then I approached a horde of zombie office workers and said, this is a bit different from other Castlevania games, but cool. Since the first area is an office building, the workers, when I attacked them, scream in pain when Julius hit them. And as they died, a brief flash of a dead person flashed on screen. I was like, huh? Is that supposed to happen? Okay. But I came into contact with a mimic that is a filing cabinet with teeth. Wait, what? Is this Yuppie Psycho now? Okay. Weird, not like Castlevania at all. Yeah, that's definitely never in any Castlevania games. I then whipped it good and exploded into pieces and scattered hyper-realistic blood everywhere when it died. Again, a flashing picture of another dead office worker. I was freaked out this time. What is going on? And then there was a hall with some skeletons in secretary uniforms that bowed to me as I approached, and then started to do a bit of kung fun at me. Wait, kung fun? You mean kung fu? Weird, it reminded me of Persephone, you know, the karate demon made from the DS games. Oh well, Julia smacked her in the head with his whip, and her head went flying off and her body collapsed in a pile of bones. An image of an office worker who committed Minecraft flashed on the screen again. It was disturbing since it seemed like real photos. What was it going to be this way for each enemy? Whew. I then came to a large office building room with cabinets and tables to jump on, while Fleeman wearing ties and suits and little fedoras, which is perfect for Fleeman because they are so annoying, jumped at me. I had Julius be extra careful and take them out quickly, and then one of them dropped a ratty fedora, Tip's fedora, which I equipped to Julius, no problem. It changed his appearance to wear it too, which was different, yeah? Almost like this game was inspired by Bloodstained or something. Then I came to another office which was a white void with floating bulletin board and a bunch of papers everywhere, while at a computer an office worker was working, and when I got near he freaked out and damaged Julius. Julius started to bleed out blood from where it hit him. I was like, oh, it's on. Oh, it is so on. And I smacked the office worker with the whip a couple times, and then it said Julius's love increased. I was like, huh? Love? And sure enough, LV stood for love, and I was gathering EXP, or execution points. Oh, what? This is Undertale now? Of course it is. Because of course. It was strange. I thought you were supposed to kill the monsters in Castlevania, right? Apparently not. Then we reached the last office room on the map, and before us was some sort of Lex Luthor-like vampire dressed in a black and gray striped suit. Yes, with a bloody red tie and had a rose on his suit. Then the Bing laughed in a creepy, distorted laugh and then tossed a knife at us really fast. I barely had time to react. Julius whipped him and the vampire started to bleed out very realistic blood that looked so real. In fact, some of the blood spattered on the screen and looked real. In fact, I swear it was dripping from the TV. Wait, what? I mean, of course it was. Why would it not be? The vampire wasn't too hard in the first phase. Then when he said, "Chaos, give me power!" Then he started transforming into a giant printer monster with sharp teeth and strangely human legs coming from it. And then it started to fire a bunch of printed papers in a line as I ducked behind a filing cabinet in order to avoid the attack, and Julius got a nasty paper cut. Oh no. I did notice it would jam every now and again, and I went out when it did, and just to damage it with the whip. Oh, while it bled blood when I struck him it was running away like a chicken. It then threw itself to try and bite Julius, but he did an expert backdash and hit him again, and it jumped away and started its paper cut barrage again, and now rinse and repeat. And it was overall an easy win. After I won, the area burned up in flames and became a pure white void, and it said, "This castle has been purified." Wait, what, this is off now? I was like, yes, we are on a quest to purify the servants of the night. I was excited to play the rest of the game, only after the map came up again, the area we were at was just a white void and showed nothing. But we could still go there? I thought it was just showing it was purified I thought it was just showing it was purified, and if you went back it would return you to the office building, but next castle. Sorry, I'm not very good at this. The next castle was even stranger. It was a restaurant, and the description for it said that the servants of evil were using it as a kitchen to serve their forces the blood, flesh, and souls of men. I was like, oh, like the Mad Butcher. Oh, wait, what? Alright, from Lords of Shadow? Then I am prepared to kick butt and take name here. Then it said Castle 2, Feast of Gluttony. Then for some reason the description on the level said, kill every last one of them! All in all caps and blood red text, which is super scary because red text is toad scary, yo. Yeah, that's a real line that's written in this creepypasta. And I was like, what? And then I entered the level. There were skeleton waitresses before me who said welcome and threw frozen desserts on a tray at me. You mean a tray? Yes, great grammar so far in this creepypasta. I was like, huh? Because this was like the waiter skeletons, only more waifu. Protag, keep it in your pants, okay? So I skillfully dodged it and hit her in the face with the whip, only the enemy description read that waitress. I was like, huh? And then I ran into a man-eating vegan burger that was flying in air. That was flying in the air. You mean flying in the air after a demon chef made it? And the description said hipster food? Protag, what are you doing? And a chef's description read bad chef, and I was like, huh? Excuse me. And every time I killed one of the enemies, an image would flash for a brief second of dead office workers again. Only it became more hyper-realistic than the times before it. Oh, good. Right. I'm glad it's hyper-realistic, at least. And after getting through the dungeon, it wasn't so bad, thankfully. It wasn't too bad, since thankfully this game is easier than Order of Ecclesia. Of course. There was a boss that looked like the Mad Butcher from the Arya games, only bigger and with hyper-realistic blood on the chef's apron and a big meaty knife. Oh no. And text box said, he's making meat of human children, kill him. And I was like, who is talking? Because there was no text box, and there was an upside down W on the wall. And it looked a bit like the inside of a McDonald's. Wait, what? McDonald's? I was like, what? Anyway, the chef summoned a bunch of giant meat cleavers that flew at me from all over the screen. I was like, suddenly, this is suddenly turning into a bullet hell game. The butcher then yelled, I don't need friends, I've got knives! Wait, what? Is the butcher actually the bad dummy from Undertale? I mean, of course he is. And they rushed Julius. Luckily, I am an MLG pro gamer at Castlevania, dodged them all like an absolute boss. Protag has a lot of humility, you know? And I smacked him in the face with the vampire killer, and when it struck, he screamed in agony, and the text description said upper management. And I was like, huh? Because he's clearly the bad butcher, right? Plus he was bleeding hyper-realistic blood everywhere when I struck him. And then the Mad Butcher took out a mangled human arm that was a real human arm as the image of a dead child flashed on screen, and he ate it to recover HP, and I was like, what? And I kept smacking him, but then he started to run at me with the knife. So I jumped over him, but he was still coming at me with the knife. But it was still coming, and his knife made it sound like the Jason and Leatherface knockoff enemies from Order of Ecclesia. Yep, those are real enemies, by the way. So he headed up to a hook on the ceiling. To begin to avoid getting hit. And he started to summon those butcher knives again, which I dodged while trying to hit him. He then started to do flying leaps to slam down at me with his knife, so I slid under him and hit him, and dodged many more knife swings again, and then tossed some holy water in him, and it put Mad Butcher on fire, melted half his face off, and then a hyper-realistic image of his face popped up on screen, only it looked like an office worker again. I was like, what the bleep? What is going on? But then I smacked him a couple times and got a level off of him as he turned into hyper-realistic bloody chunks that splattered the balls. Then the area map closed, and it was white once again, and it's saying adversaries purified. Oh, so this really is off. I get the feeling that whoever wrote this story is a big fan of things like Undertale and Off. I was getting curious if I could go back, so I tried, but the map would only load up a blank white void with black winds moving through it that had nothing in it. I was like, what is going on? Well, the area has been purified. You have to fight secretaries now. Yeah. So I left the map and came out and headed to the next castle. The next castle was taking place in the Skeleton Cave. Oh no, I remember that level from Order Ecclesia. That's one of the best levels in the entire game. I was like, sweet, some classic Castlevania. Yes. Since the Skeleton Castle is one of my favorite locations, was my favorite location in Order of Ecclesia. The level description said, the necromancer has risen an army of spooky, scary skeletons from the grave to lead an assault on church troops. Defeat him and the army of the undead in the skeleton cave. And it said in scary red text, kill every last one of them. I take it that that whoever wrote this is also a fan of Dimitri from Fire Emblem. I then said, what? And the red text changed to their easy XP. Yep, of course, more Undertale references. I was like, okay then, and then entered the level. I was like, damn, Komani has gotten really dark for this game. I laughed at this. I mean, it's just a game. It's not real, right? I mean, it's only logical, right? So I decided to continue. Inside the skeleton cave, all was quiet, and then suddenly, a skeleton popped out! Oh yes, creepypasta cliches, of course! And not just one, but a whole bunch of them! And he looked really spooky, and they were really spooky and scary! In fact, they were hyper-realistic skeletons! Oh no! Of course they're hyper-realistic skeletons. Why would they not be? I was like, what? Okay, so we got some regular spooky boys and some slingers in the room as we navigate the platforms made of skeleton bones. And then I approached one and some digital glitch for us. And some digital glitch for a brief second, and it showed us skeletons as regular people are dressed as office workers. I was like, what the bleep is going on? Yes, we're gonna censor all the swear words, yes. It turned normal only when I struck a skeleton and defeated him. The text showed up a description of the enemy, which said, a description of the enemy would be said. I guess it was too spooky for him. I was like, what the bleep is going on? And then suddenly the music changed to a distorted backwards version of spooky, scary skeletons with no lyrics. I mean, of course, why not? This game is clearly not a hack, guys. Clearly the Cult of X is stepping up their game, guys. And then smashed another skeleton to bits with the vampire killer, and the description said, is this too spooky for you? I was freaked out and scared so bad, I think I pissed myself. Like, is that some sort of fourth wall break? I noticed there was some hyper-realistic blood coming from the skeletons when they died. I was like, what? But the skeletons don't have any blood. I then continued and smashed a couple of slingers, and the description was normal, but when I destroyed them, the sprite flashed to a dead office worker. I thought this was some Komani employee's sick joke, so I continued through the spooky, scary skeleton cave and ran into a hall full of dull hands and bone pillars that ended with the skeleton racks. Oh hey, I remember that enemy from Order of Ecclesia. Only every one of them turned into bloody mangled corpses when they were struck down. That looked like hyper-realistic dead men's bones covered in thick, dark red blood. I mean, of course they did. Would you say the skeletons were hyper-realistic? I mean, I would like a hyper-realistic skeleton Rex in the Castlevania game. And next room was a bunch of skeleton friskies, which I remember as ghost dancers from Symphony of Night. Oh yeah, that's true. That's very true. It seems like whoever wrote this is definitely a big fan of Castlevania. Slaughtering them was a bloody show, for sure, as they crushed them one by one after the other. Blood and hyper-realistic bones flew everywhere, and then a white dragon appeared and the text box then said, "In my way." Wait, another Undertale reference? Take a shot for every Undertale reference. So I dodged its fire breath and destroyed it with the cross and exploded like usual, but only when it did, it exploded into hyper-realistic blood splatter. I could see it on my screen. In the next room is a boss fight. The boss was the necromancer who said, "Did you enjoy it?" I was like, huh? Julius did not respond. The necromancer then said, "Fight me. After all, you want to reach the end, right?" He then cast a spell to summon skeletons who were dressed in soldiers' outfits that were carrying knives and tossed grenades. I was like, okay. Julius killed them easily, but the bleed everywhere they bled everywhere when struck, and it showed an image of dead army men on screen with a horribly disfigured skeletal face. Oh no. I ran over to the necromancer to smack him with the vampire killer. The necromancer was laughing when he was hit and bleeding all over. The digital glitch happened and it showed another office worker. The enemy description said supervisor instead of necromancer. Then the necromancer cast a spell after flying to the side, which summoned a giant bunch of blood-red flying skulls with flames around them. Wait, what? You mean like the giant ghosts? You mean like the flying skulls? Only blood red? Yes, like that. I used the whip spin technique to get rid of them. Then the necromancer flew high and summoned 2 portals to send down giant energy ghost skulls. Isn't that like one of Death's attacks from Dawn of Sorrow? I dodged and hit them with the axe, and then he started to bleed hyper-realistic blood from his head. He then said, "Chaos, give me power!" And then he became engulfed in light and transformed into a giant bloody hyper-realistic skeleton with a giant mace covered in blood that was made of skulls! Would you say they're hyper-realistic skulls? He then contorted his back and charged at me, so I had to jump to the platform to avoid his attack, then smashed his club at me twice. I backstepped to dodge it and hit him with the whip as he bled as I struck him. He then grabbed his head from his left arm and tossed it up, and started to spew ectoplasm blasts everywhere, and they really hurt. Like massive damage when I got struck. So I needed to be careful. When it finished with a ring of spectral fire bullets everywhere, which I avoided quickly as I kept the pressure on by whipping his body. Only when I did, it showed a picture of an office worker being beaten with a whip to death. I was like, make it stop. I just wanted to stop, and then Julius cast Hydra Storm and did massive damage to the skeleton and dissolved into a puddle of liquid in a hyper-realistic way as it melted like being struck by acid. He then screamed in pain and then exploded in a massive explosion of hyper-realistic blood. Oh no. The area then ended in a white screen, and once again it said, "Adversaries purified." I get the feeling whoever wrote this was a big fan of Off. Now the area was just a white void. I was getting more and more freaked out from playing this. I mean, the last level was awfully spooky because it had way too many spooky, scary skeletons in it. And those things are too spooky for me. I am glad it was over. The next level is a circus. I was like, what? Nation of Fools? And that was the level's name. And then the description said, Alucard has been captured in a nation of fools who are torturing him and many other people for the entertainment of the demonic hordes. You know what to do, don't you? And then it said in dark red text, "Kill every last one of them!" I was like, Alucard, cool. Since he's one of the best characters in the series and so iconic, and as I'm sure you're aware, if you don't know who he is, he's the son of Dracula, born of a human mother who was out to take out his dad. Dracula and was the protagonist of Symphony of Night and first appeared in Castlevania 3 where he could turn into a bat. Needless to say, I was looking forward to seeing him again. Even if he would look like probably a Japanese dude going by an alias like in Asaro games. Oh, that's very true. He means Arikado, right? The protagonist means Arikado, of course. If you don't know. Now it opened to a bloody circus tent background world, and in the first room there was double blood-covered swinging pendulum blades. Oh no. Oh no, I remember this. This is giving me flashbacks to the Burnt Paradise, guys. I did not like that level. It's significantly easier if you use the potion glitch. I decided to dodge these quickly and quietly, and I was not looking forward to this level because it set the bar to clock tower hell levels of madness. Oh no, not the clock tower. And then there was a killer clown, but he looked white and dressed in white and black striped shirt with a rainbow wig on, and then he said with a giant demonic shark tooth mouth on his belly, "Let's play!" Oh wow, and then tossed a bunch of deadly cards. One hit Julius and blood gushed from it. I would needed to be careful, so I whipped this clown like my ex. Damn son. Damn son, casual sexism. And he exploded into bloody rainbow confetti, and a text box said, "Who's laughing now?" The next area had a couple of caparella coming from cannons, only they screamed and threw poison daggers, this time at high speed. I was like, okay. And I took them out by hitting them with the vampire killer. And then it flashed to the image of a dead woman that had her head cut off by a masked figure. It freaked me out by how graphic it was. The music also started to get lower and lower as I went and got more and more awfully spooky, being a distorted version of Chaotic Playgrounds. Oh no. Hey, you must be streaming this from a 3DS capture card. As I went forward, there was a hall with some buster armor standing on the ceiling and armor knights walking on the walls. I was pretty scared because buster armors do a lot of damage. That's true, they do. I dodged swiftly and took them out while knocking the missiles back at them while staying out of the blast radius, and it showed an image of a man being burned to death, and the buster armor sprite changed to a hyper-realistic blood office worker. You mean bloody office worker, right? For a bit, and then shifted to normal. Oh, that's good. The next area was strangely cut out. There was a realistic office with angry office workers coming at me, and they bled everywhere and screaming in agony as I cut a bloody path through them. And then the area resumed as normal. And the next area was a UFO is a UFO run by a killer clown. That's right, a killer clown from outer space. Oh, now we're referencing movies, of course. I mean, earlier we did reference McDonald's. I was like, what the bleep? And it fired a ray gun at me, and I dodged on instinct, and it turned what it blasted into a clown. I was like, I don't want to be a clown. So I took the UFO out quickly, and when it was destroyed, it sparked and exploded in a bunch and then crashed to the ground and burned up, and a skeleton of a clown inside of it that was burned up with a skeleton of a clown inside of it that was burned up and hyper realistic. Oh wow. Take a shot for every time it mentions hyper realistic. You didn't tell the writer of this did not take this story so seriously whatsoever. I was like, cool. And in a text box it said, having fun. And I was like, huh? Was it responding to me, Bree? And next area was where Alucard was being kept captive in the background of a torture table, and the background behind it was a massive red curtain. A text came up saying, The show is about to begin. I then said, huh? And then the curtain opened, and I saw a giant evil deformed clown that looked like some sort of demonic Ronald McDonald. I mean, of course it is. What else would it be? We know that Ronald McDonald's a demon, man. And then he said, it's showtime, and the battle began? He attacked by spraying a bunch of acid from a flower on his chest, which was poison. I evaded this and hit him in the leg, and the leg glowed when hit, and it said, that stupid comedian. And then the clown started to let forth a blood-curdling roar and summoned a massive mallet and jumped up and tried to crush me. And I slid underneath him and hit him in the back. And then he fired a bunch of giant bouncy balls from his mouth that bounced all over the place all over the rim at high speed. I got hit twice by this, and it really hurt Julius. He was bleeding everywhere. But I didn't want to give up, so I struck the clown again. And the clown laughed and summoned a bunch of killer clowns from outer space and UFOs at me to try and turn me into a clown. I was hoping these blasts wasn't instant death, so I dodged them and took them both down. And the clown whirled his arm and summoned a bunch of fiery pins that turned into fireballs everywhere. I was like, this is quite a fight. And I didn't climb the platforms in the arena to get to the head of the clown and struck him in the nose. He then cried and backed up when bled hyper-realistic blood from his nose when he got hit. Nice! And then I struck him a couple more times and he exploded into a mechanical shell of a magician looking into a mechanical giant shell of a magician looking handlebar mustache dude that was riding on stilts while controlling the robot. I dodged another volley and struck him in the chest with rapid fire knives, and as I did, he bled until he died of blood loss and collapsed and his robot broke apart. And I was happy it was over. The text box came up and said he shouldn't have laughed at me, and I was like, huh? Anyway, after that, we freed Alucard, and he was unlocked in a mode where you can play him through the main game, which was okay. Apparently, he marched with the church to bring down the rise of the castles of Dracula that Shaft's ancestors summoned, and he got captured by the servants of chaos. He then told me that Yoko was still in danger in the next area as she had gone to the harem castle. I was like, huh? You mean a demon guest house? I mean, yes, that's exactly what he means, Mr. Writer. Mr. Protag. I guess we could look into it, question mark. The area was white again and it said, adversaries purified, this time in bloody red text. Yes. Another off reference. That's gonna happen with every castle that's cleared, isn't it? And the next area came up, which was the Demon's Harem, it then said Yoko has been captured by the succubus in a place of demented pleasure that lures men to their doom. Recover her by any means necessary. And then it said in bloody red text, kill every last one of them. And then it said the job is nearly finished in bloody red text again. And I wondered what job, and I was too afraid to answer that question. Anyway, the Demon's Harem, to my surprise, took place in a massive hotel complex that I guess Dracula owned now? Weird. Anyway, the first enemy in the area was Persephone, who had her signature skull-shaped vacuum cleaner. I was like, cool seeing a familiar face. She ran up to attack, but the screen glitched with digital glitching, and suddenly she was dead, and her blood spattered everywhere, and the hotel got a bloody red tint to it, and was covered in dark red stains everywhere, and the lights of the stage were flashing on and off. And I was like, damn, this is getting a little spoopy. Yes, this is a super serious creepypasta, guys. 100% real. Since I laughed at the idea of red, I mean, red is not a scary color. Oh, you mean red is red? It's red, and red is a scary color, guys. Yeah, stolen. I think the person who wrote this is also a fan of John Wolfe. Yet the music played a distorted version of Inner Quarters. I was expecting the Monster Girls. Oh no. Apparently, whoever wrote this has also got the horny, of course. I was like, it can't be a proper harem level without cute monster girls. I guess Persephone is a pretty cute enemy, right? But this was just disturbing. Wait, what? Then in the next room, there was a Valkyrie in the air covered in blood with a mad look in her eyes, and on the ground was Curly, who was wielding bloody swords and looked sexy and dangerous and more mad than I remember. And in a text box said, "Destroy these, bleep!" I was like, huh? And I blinked and it went away. So I killed the monsters in my way, and then got to a hallway where, to my surprise, there were, to my surprise, Lily? As in the bunny girls from Bloodstained Ritual Night? What the bleep? And there were witches in the air too. And to my surprise, in the center, there was a giant bloody decomposing living dog head on a chain. Like it was the puppy enemy from Bloodstained as well, but much more hideous. At least the Lily are as cute as I remember. I mean, I was like, maybe Igarashi planned to use him in a Castlevania at one point? Well, I suppose. Yes, we have Ritual Night enemies in this Castlevania creepypasta. Of course. I take it that the person who wrote this is a fan of Bloodstained. Oh well, I tore through them. I tore through the enemies quickly, and only when they died, a picture of dead and mutilated women dressed in business suits flashed on the screen, and they were covered in blood, and it got more and more graphic with each one I slew in my path. The next hall was a small room where Draculina from Order of Ecclesia in it. It was like weird. Wait, what? You mean encountering Draculina is not that weird, really? She looked much more deformed and vicious than in that game was covered in blood. Take a shot for every reference of blood in this creepypasta. It's not a real creepypasta if blood isn't mentioned every sentence. Right, where was Right. She came down at Julius and tried to grab him to bite him, but I dodged by jumping over her and as she dove and hit her in the face with holy water and melted her face in a hyper-realistic way and turned her into a spooky, scary skeleton before she died, and it was strangely satisfying. I felt cold inside, like psychotically so. That protag is a psychopath, confirmed. Oh well, after a couple areas there was a boss. It was her, the succubus. I was like, damn, isn't she from Symphony of Night? Oh well, no weird nightmare save points this time. I hope they made her fight harder in this game though, cause she was bad easy in Symphony, I thought to myself. And then she said, so here you are. Are you going to mercilessly murder everyone in your way? Or does it fill you with love? Another Undertale reference. Take another shot for an Undertale reference. Read text. You mean red text came up and said, shameless woman killer. I was like, huh? I guess I'll do that? Question mark? And then the fight started. She did her illusion attack and cast a bunch of energy balls. It was a bit like Symphony Night in that regards, only with more energy balls, and some were black and pink. I think I should avoid them at all costs. And then she got hit by a couple of times by Julius Whips and darted to shout, "I'll suck you dry!" Wait, what? Actually, she does that in Symphony of Night, too. Which I laughed at and then shouted, "No, I will submit to you! Be gone, bleep!" Wait, what? Protag, don't you mean I will not submit to you? I guess maybe the Protag is being slowly brainwashed by the succubus's charms. only it's not quite complete yet. As I hit her in the chest and made her bloody red in a huge cross. Oh no. Damn, there was a lot of blood. It was so real too. It was like I actually killed a real succubus. And then as she was dying, she turned into an office worker that was a female who was gushing blood, and she said, "You did this." I was like, "Did what?" And she changed back to the succubus via digital glitch, and I was like freaked out. And what did it mean? Julius then demanded of her, "Where is Yoko?" The succubus then said, "Your princess is in another castle." Julius then flat out bitch slapped her, and her head came flying off in a hyper-realistic fashion as it flew right into the screen. The head of the succubus was so real that it disturbed me a little. It seemed almost like a real human head. Damn. Damn, son, that's unusually graphic. I was like, holy shit, what the bleep is going on? Then there was a secret passage leading to the hotel's base. Then a secret passage leading to the hotel's basement open, and I can hear the screams. You mean the screams? Of a woman coming from below. Who was it? Her? And I went down and saw an elder Unin who said to Julius, "Be with me." And I was like, "Be gone, bleep!" And tore a bloody path through her with another cross. And then I have little patience for bleeps, you see. Damn, the writer of this definitely has a potty mouth and says some not safe for Twitch things in this story, man. I'm sure they're just referencing a meme though. And then we reached a cave where Yoko was dressed in a bunny suit and heavily beaten and chained up with a worried and numb expression on her face. Then she appeared. It was Carmilla. Oh no, not Carmilla. Julius was like, "Did you do this to Yoko? Death is too good for you." Hey, an actual Castlevania reference. And then Carmilla then said, "She will be a fine piece of work soon, just like you will be when I'm done with you." And then the battle started. Oh no. Carmilla unleashed a wave of blood at me. I jumped over and slashed her with the whip. And when she got up, she summoned a rain of blood, which was brutal to be under, and then Julius got damaged by it pretty badly, so I had to be a little careful. Julius then tossed a cross right at her and tore off her head in a bloody and violently hyper-realistic fashion with it. And then Carmilla started to transform into some sort of giant flying skull vampire lady like in Circle of the Moon and restarted her attack by firing a massive beam of blood-red energy at poor Julius. I rolled under it like a boss and smacked her in the face with the whip, which showed an image of a woman being beaten with a whip, which made me disturbed. And then Carmilla burst into flames and exploded into blood and that flew all over the screen. And then it was so real that it transcended our reality because of how realistic it was into hyper reality. In other words, hyper realistic blood. Take another drink. We saved Yoko from whatever weird demented stuff Carmilla was doing to her. And we unlocked an option to play with her in another mode. After that, the area turned white and it said in blood red chiller fonts. Blood red chiller fonts? Of course, the most spooky fonts. Adversaries purified. Now all that was left was Dracula's castle. The level description said in blood and red text, "Kill the CEO." I was like, huh? The CEO? You mean Dracula, right? The final level was the throne room, only it looked a bit like the cathedral and had spikes and saws and spinning gears everywhere and swinging chain platforms, and there I saw a Nightmare Before. That was the end of Nightmare Before it. is the ender of games and the crusher of so many Castlevania dreams, the Medusa heads! Oh no, not Medusa heads. I was like, oh no, Medusa heads, that triggers me triggered! I mean, I guess I understand that reaction. Then a gold one flew in front of the screen and made a hyper-realistic troll face, and then it said to Julius, "Hi fam, are you ready for some salt?" Well, it's nice of the writer to insert some humor, I guess. This is not just a creepypasta, it's a black comedy, apparently. Julia's face turned bright angry red with the anger of the angry sun from Super Mario Bros. 3. I think I heard a vein pop in his head. And then he tore it down with the whip, but then more Medusa heads started to fly at me and they numbered in the millions. I was like, oh hell no! And made a mad dash for the next area and dove in by the skin of my teeth to another hallway. And here we had double X Armor's Knights, and you guessed it, bleeping Medusa heads! I was starting to get angry. Dang, he ran into that one chamber that's from that the angry video game nerd had trouble with. I was like, plus, whenever a Medusa head hit me, the screen lit up with the Mario Maker laugh sound effect just to mock me. Ah, right, this game is 100% official by Konami, by the way. It's totally not a hack. After getting through one hallway, we reached a new chamber where death was waiting for us. It was weird because death was hyper-realistic this time, and for a face he had the face of some random Japanese dude who wore, and with a pair of black glasses with a pair of black eyes like voids. And a text box said, "In my way." I was like, okay. I thought this was some sort of glitch because that would be the most logical and reasonable response to something like this, right? But Deathan said, "What? You dare to come to the lair of Lord Dracula? You must die!" Wait, so Death is actually Ganon from Wand of Gamelon or something? Of course, I guess whoever wrote this is a big fan of memes. And he summoned a bunch of very realistic looking sight that was wet with a lot of very real looking blood. I was like, damn, Death is way edgier than I remember. And then he summoned a bunch of blood red little sickles that flew at me while he flew up, right? Over me to try and cut me in half. So I had Julius dodge quickly and hit the spectral specter of the Black Death with a cross to the face, but Death deflected it and rushed at me with a series of swings, and then fired a giant energy skull at me. I could only dodge just barely by rolling underneath him. I was like, damn, this fight is pretty intense. Then Death flew into the center of the room and fired energy skulls that started to come from left and right. I was like, oh no, not this trick. I see, we remember Death Fight from Dawn of Sorrow. Yeah, that trick is really deadly, I remember that. I jumped up and used the whip to grab a ring nearby to avoid it. Once it was done, I kept the pressure on and hit Death over and over with the whip, and each time I struck him, it got bloodier and bloodier until the room started to turn red and the lights started to flicker and the music turned into a distorted industrial washing machine-like noise. Dang now. Dang, son. Death then summoned some chains with hands from portals to try and grab Julius? You mean like Portrait of Ruin? So I dodged because I knew this attack would be brutal, and then I grabbed the Grand Cross from a candle and then used it on Death, and he got struck over and over and disintegrated in the holy light into a pile of dust, and his humanoid face fell down and turned into a pile of blood and brains. An image flashed on screen of a brutally beaten dude in a suit that was barely recognizable with all the blood and brutal injuries he sustained. And then we headed to the next chamber, which was just full of pitch black darkness. Then a ring of light of blue candles formed, and we saw him, the ancestor of Shaft, sitting in the center of it. He then said, we Lords of Shadow have served our purpose, and with the power of 13 Draculas, I will bring chaos to your world, and it shall end all realities and all timelines as we know it. And it showed an image of 13 coffins, each containing a different version of Dracula from the Castlevania timeline. The ancestor of Shaft then said, do you know who I am? That's right, I am Shaft, reborn into this world to carry out the Dark Lord's wishes. Julius then struck the elderly old priest of evil with the whip of his own, killing him. The text box then said, finish the job. Then as Shaft laid in a pool of his own blood, it seemed like a very real dead person in a very real pool of blood. He drew a circle with blood with the last of his strength, and then suddenly the 13 Draculas were swallowed up and now revealed the gate of chaos, and it summoned chaos. I was like, oh shit. Oh shite. Because chaos looked like some sort of hyper-realistic strange amalgamation that could barely be considered a being from our reality, and in the center of chaos's head was the Dark Lord Dracula, who had half his face missing and a big glowing red eye. Yeah, so he's like Sans Undertale now. Then the screen filled up with blood and the game started to go berserk with digital glitching, and it flashed a video of a businessman who was overworked by Konami staff and later went on a killing spree and murdered everyone in a fit of rage and even killed the CEO in the office building before lighting Konami up with fire and after dousing the floor in gasoline. I was like, what? And a red text then appeared and said, do you understand? The option came up, said yes or no. So I chose no because I don't understand. I'm not a smart gamer. I see the writer is going for the humor approach of this. Then on the screen, an image of the killer's face was an image of the killer's face, which was distorted with Dracula's face and glitched up a lot. Then said, "You did fine work, player. With your help, I have assembled enough souls that have fallen to bring the dark deity of chaos to your world." I was like, "You meant the Castlevania world, right? But why did you refer to the player and not Julius?" Then the face then said, "No more games," and then a pentagram stained in hyper-realistic blood came on the screen, only it was on the screen as in not part of the game! I was like, what? And then the guy's face was in the center. He then started to laugh and then said, "Tell me, what does it man?" I didn't respond. He then started to crack through the screen of the TV and started to come out of it. And then his face was up against mine and he said, "A miserable little pile of secrets." And then I was like, nope, so much nope, and dove for the PS3 and took out the disc before the monster could come through. And then he got stuck in the TV and started to get sucked down into a deep dark void, and his face started to form with his eyes and a bloody skull. And then he said, "No, not after all this time, but remember, it was not by my hand I was once again given flesh. I was called here by humans and by you who wish to pay me tribute." It then started to come out and took a swipe at me and fired a blast of flames at my room. But I dodged and grabbed a nearby katana at once and slice him in the face. You mean slice in the face? He then bled and then he grabbed me with one of his misshapen hands and I threw the katana and missed him, and then he said, "You missed." But then I said I wasn't aiming for you, and the pole broke the TV and smashed the pentagram on the screen. He started to glitch and started to rot away in red chunks and burn up. And then I said, "Die, monster, you do not belong in this world." As I did a combat kick in his face and kicked him into the dark void of the TV screen that sucked him down, deep into the hell dimension where he belonged in. and then the TV literally exploded and spewed blood all over my room. I was drenched in it too. I sighed and said, "It's over. I won, right?" Later that night, I couldn't sleep, still thinking of that poor tormented man who had become chaos due to be overworked to insanity by Komani. I knew now why they rebooted it into a new series. It was because that man had become chaos in the old Castlevania time universe, so they needed to remake it from the ground up. I will never look at Castlevania the same again. I just wanted to play a cool new game like I always wanted to of the series, but I don't know anymore. I destroyed the disc in a fire to prevent it from falling into anyone's hands, to prevent chaos from entering our reality through it again. Then I heard a scratching at the closet door and I was like, what is that noise? And then a hyper-realistic skeleton popped out and it was too spooky for me and I had a heart attack and died. I am currently a skeleton as I write this story. The end. I mean, of course. Oh well. Dang, son. Oh no. Hey guys, thank you for showing up at this. Happy birthday, thank you. Oh boy, Creepypasta. Comedian sick joke sounds legit. Oh man, I hate the adjective hyper-realistic. Pachinko machines to pay out NFTs? Such a cute gremlin, Raph. Merry Birthmas. Thank you. No, the succubus is not my relative. Stop saying that. That's not true. I'm not a vampire bat now. I wonder if it was hyper real. Merry Birthmas, thank you. Alright, now let's go see who's on so we can rate them real quick. I had a lot of fun rating this story that was totally not written by me. Alright, now, ooh, I know. Alright, now let's raid Pika-Spree. Raid Pika-Spree. Yeah, they're playing Resident Evil 4 right now. Alright, thank you guys for watching. I hope you had plenty of fun. Remember to play games and have fun, okay? Bye-bye now. I should really do more creepypasta readings. This was fun. Maybe I'll read another one of my own creepypastas. Moonbat Raid. See you later.